Okay, I don't know if I can explain this one quite right to the average person. This is one of those cases where you almost had to be there. Another boiler story. This would be a case where when you're finally done with a boiler, you're wanting to do two things: put it back online safely, okay, and and make sure that what you did, what you repaired, held. Yeah, that you did the right thing, and there's not going to be any leaks. So the last thing you want in a boiler room is one of the access holes breaking and you being chased all over town by steam, hot water, what have you. Yeah, you just no, you don't want that. Oh, because there's one thing we all agreed on. Boiler makers, young and old. The one thing we definitely agreed on was you cannot outrun steam. No. And when steam gets you, oh, it hurts so bad. Because it's number one, it's a lot hotter than you think because it's been under pressure, and if it all of a sudden something pops on the boiler, uh, the steam will cool itself down a little bit as it leaves the boiler coming your direction. It will cool down a little, but it's still hot, and you're going to really be yelling. Oh, you're going to be yelling. Unless it gets you in the tongue, then maybe you won't yell. You'll yell, oh, that'll be about it. You definitely don't want boiler water or steam hitting you. It's just too hot, hurts like the devil. You'll be you'll just be a wreck. And I guess people have been killed by steam for sure, but generally, uh, you just be amazed how hot it is. And the thing is, it cools down a bit as it leaves the pressure of the boiler from being inside the boiler. It's under pressure. When it loses pressure, it does chill down a little bit, but it's still hot. As far as you're concerned, it's going to hurt. Okay. So you definitely gotta know what you gotta do, and you want other people watching as you and that other person put everything back together so that the boiler you've just repaired is ready to be tested. That's pretty much it. And you don't dare really leave the boiler room till you're sure that the boiler passes its test, that it can take the interior pressure of that water being boiled and turning to steam, thus being very hot and being under pressure. And if it ain't, you've got to let the water out of the boiler one more time, and and try to redo the gaskets, the piping, what have you. Sometimes after you've changed the tubes in the boiler, the much as you tried to roll those tubes into position, um, I, you find that even though you did that, maybe you didn't do it quite well enough, so you get this little leak. Well, that little leak over time could corrode the boiler, the interior of the boiler, and and maybe even loosen up enough that you have yourself a pretty wild chase. That hot steam coming out of the tube, out of the boiler, chasing you around the boiler room. You, you've got to really, in other words, you've got to really make sure everything on that boiler that you've repaired is tight and secure, and can take the heat, can take the action, and won't kill anyone. Because a boiler can kill you. It's I never saw that happen. I've seen boilers hurt people pretty darn bad. Never saw anyone get killed. I've heard tales, and it ain't pretty. As you figure, all of a sudden there you are, Joe Blow, human, and then all of a sudden now you're covered, you're getting steam all over you, and it's and it's and very very hot water. Well, you may not make it, and even if you do, you may not enjoy your life that much after that because you'll have been so hideously burned, and that tends to take the joy out of life, walking around with boiler scars. So it's it's something when you work on the buggers, you really gotta hang in there. You know what else? That's just the water side. That's just the there's an we call in a boiler you had the where the water was to make steam. That would be the water side. There'd be water and steam in that portion of the boiler. On the other side of the tubes, or in the there would be the fire side where the fire is. And that fire, I'm telling you, it's it's a major freaking fire, and it's in that doggone boiler, making those tubes hot, not red hot. They've got water all over them. At least you hope they do. They better. And those tubes will transfer the heat from the fire through the tube into the boiler water, and the boiler water will start to bubble and boil, and steam will start coming out of it. Lots of steam. And it's and now what you got to hope there. Now the steam, the water will stay down in the boiler, but the steam will be somewhat at the top of the interior of the boiler, but mostly will be in the pipes. And you say, well, that's good. Thank heaven it's in the pipes. Not if a pipe breaks. If a pipe all of a sudden goes, you've got steam all over the place. Now what do? Now you got to really run because that steam don't feel so good when it hits you. You will definitely be stepping and fetching. And there's just so many ways that you can get yourself scalded, burned, killed, drowned. Oh my God, there's just so much. And yet there's something about working on the darn things. If you're mechanically minded, being a Boilermaker is a pretty good, is a pretty interesting job. You've just got to be sharp though. You've got to know the different things you've got to avoid doing and the things that you've got to do if you like living. Checking for leaks, one of them. Yeah. Oh, checking for steam leaks, one of them. Checking for oil leaks, one of them. Oh, no, a good boiler operator or a good boiler maker, either one, both of them, knows they know very sincerely to keep an eye on everything. And to that point, you will actually see sometimes you go into a boiler room and there are guys standing like they're at parade rest on a ship, just looking at the boiler, looking at the dials, looking at this and that, listening. And they're the good ones. They know what they're doing. They're being smart. Some people might say, no, they're being dumb. They're in a doggone boiler room where if that boiler blows, they're going right through what's left of them will go right through the wall. But it's something they do. It's just, and then there's the Boilermakers who climb inside to make sure everything's working. Not while it's on. You turn it off, cool it down real good, and then test it after you're done. But even that, things can happen. It's wild work. It is exciting though, and there is something about it. I always enjoyed it. I really my first wife would have to go over this with you. That'd be Molly, but I don't recall I ever. I was always rather excited about being a Boilermaker. I rather enjoyed it, or working on them, testing them, and all that. I did enjoy that. I think she would agree. Sandy, I didn't know Sandy when I was a Boilermaker or a boiler. Um, my daughter, when she was like 5, used to call me a boiler doctor. By the way, she used to come with me to when I if I was going to like a school boiler to check it, Sonny would go with me and she'd help. 5 years old, walking around the boiler room, and she knew the different things you had to be careful about, and she was very good at it actually. Burgess, he wasn't old enough back when I was in that situation. He was a little too young, but he would have liked it too, my son Burgess. So anyway, I thought I'd say it's something you kind of grow into, boiler making. If you can find a job doing it, being an apprentice or studying, it's not a. They're always going to need boilers. They're they're always in style. Yes, because they can always blow up too. If you don't do it right, you got trouble. If you do it right, everything's fine. I knew a guy. I think he used to kiss his boiler. He did in the morning. He'd go up to it and go, ah, there you go, sweetheart. Or he'd pat it. Nice boiler, nice boiler. He's a little. No, no, he was. That was just how he did. That's how he did it. I guess it's his way of praying. Anyway, I'll see you later. Oh, and a lot of praying going on in a boiler room. Oh yeah, oh yeah. You bet your bippy. Okay, I'll see you later. God bless. Bye now.